Hey everybody, it's Leslie. It is straight up noon o'clock here in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I am just a little bit late. I apologize for that. I was really late yesterday, and today I'm a little bit late. I was on a conference call, and so I couldn't get off. Hey everybody. Hey Sean. I'm seeing hey Paloma. Hey Lusa. I think I said that right. We are talking about salt. Hey, it's good to see everybody. Mary, it's good to see you. I'm so happy to see you. So if you guys want to go ahead and share with your followers, I would appreciate it so much. Hola. Hola, Paloma. I would appreciate it so much. You can actually swipe left or right or up and down. Good morning. It's good to see everybody, and you can share with your followers, and I would be very appreciative of that. Thanks for everybody that's joining me here live. Thanks for everybody joining me in replays. Thanks if you're joining on the web. You can actually tweet me questions if you're watching from the web. Hey everybody, good to see you. You can share on Facebook now. It's a big wide world. So today we're talking about salt again. And I've been talking about salt all week. We talked about what salt is. We've talked about where salt is hiding. And today we are actually talking about the different kinds of salt. And I know that you guys, hey Maura, it's good to see you. I know you guys were, hi from Russia, hello, welcome in. I know you guys were super excited to talk about the different types of salt. So, so that's what we're gonna talk about today. So Kazakhstan, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for being here today. I don't know. I've never been to Russia. Don't know if I like Russia or not. Okay, so let me just introduce myself. My name is Leslie, and you are watching Lunch with Leslie at GoToKitchens.com. I do this broadcast every weekday I am 45 years old. Hold on just a second. I do this broadcast every weekday at noon Mountain Time. Yes, you could do salt and pepper for sure. And today, I would like to invite you guys personally to go over and check out my website at GoToKitchens.com. That's right here in the title of the scope. And if you go over and do that, you can actually sign up to become a VIP and learn all kinds of learn what's coming up with GoToKitchens, which is, there's some really exciting stuff coming up. You can learn all kinds of things about GoToKitchens. So you guys go over, sign up to become a VIP. I would absolutely love it if you did that. So hello everybody that's here, looks like from all over the world today. So it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. I know Russia's open. I know that it is. Okay, so we're gonna get right down to it. I have 2 pages. I have 2 pages. Same reason that there's salt in sweat is why there's salt in tears. Your body actually excretes salt through your skin, so same reason. So I have 2 pages of notes today that we're going to get through, and so I want to be able to talk about all of these things and hopefully educate you guys, and maybe you'll learn something. I know as I was doing the research today, I actually learned a lot, and it was pretty amazing the different things that I learned about salt today as I was educating myself to educate you guys about the different types of salt. So as you know, if you're regular here, please tap the screen. I've got the bat hearts going up today, so I like that. They're actually not hearts at all, they're bats. And so, okay, so on the element, so let's do a little bit of sciencey stuff. I know I'm not the science girl normally, but let's do a little bit. Oh, there you go. It's a block party. My goodness. So I think that I have my location turned on, which I normally do not do. So that's what's going on here today. Don't drink margaritas. So no is the answer to that. Do not drink margaritas. Don't drink a lot of alcohol of any kind. So, all right. So on the elemental chart, salt equals. So if you're looking at that, science element, chart, salt equals 1 part sodium and 1 part chloride. Now in 1 little tiny grain of salt, so like what you see in the top of the salt shaker here, 1 little tiny grain of salt, there is millions upon billions upon trillions of those 2 elements put together to make 1 little tiny grain of salt. So, but that is essentially what salt is in any form. It is 1 part sodium and 1 part chloride. They come together and they make what we know as our normal salt that we eat on a regular basis. Now then, a salt like this, a sea salt like this, this is actually going, I'm going to turn off my heater. It's actually cold here today in Colorado, but it's chilly. It's not cold, it's chilly. But a salt like this actually has all kinds of minerals. So it's only going to be part of what makes this. So salt and pepper. You got all the salt jokes today, don't you? Yes, I do like that group, actually. Okay, so there's a lot of sodium and lots of chloride that have gotten together and have made your grain of salt. So where does salt come from? So it's a little bit of a, I don't want to say a scam because it's not a scam, but it's a little bit of marketing that goes into anything that says sea salt on it. Because technically all of the salt deposits around the world that come out of the halite rock, essentially is where we get salt when we mine it, has come from a body of water at some point in the ecological history of our planet. So when you talk about sea salt, really all salt is sea salt of some form. So, but it just depends on where it's come from and how old it is and all those kinds of good things. So when we talk about mined salt, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to block you if you're going to keep, I'll let you stay here, but I'm going to have to block you if I keep getting ridiculous questions because this is a health blog and we're talking about health things today and we're not being silly, although we do get silly sometimes. So please, if you have a great question, I would love to answer it for you. But I'm going to keep ignoring those questions that are silly. So, okay. So, indeed, right? So you basically get salt from 3 different areas of we get salt from 3 different areas of the, sorry, just have to go there. Hey, it's good to see you, Jen. We get salt from 3 different areas when we talk about where salt comes from. Number 1, we get mined salt. So you guys know about the salt mines. You hear people talking about, my husband works in the salt mine, or my daughter worked in the salt mine, or whatever. So that is absolutely true. And basically what those are ancient seabeds that have formed a rock. And that rock is called halite or halite. I don't know how they pronounce it. I think it's halite, actually. Forms a halite block, and that is a salty rock. So essentially they start chipping away at that and grinding that and processing it to get it to what we know as just a common table salt. Okay, so even like something like the Morton's kosher salt, which I actually have because I like to cook with it, the Morton's kosher salt like this is where that kind of salt is going to come from. This is not a sea salt, and the only difference between, and we'll talk about the difference actually between kosher salt and regular table salt. So, so that is basically where the mined salt comes from, and that's where basic table salt comes from. And the other kind that we get is we have sea salt, and this would be current sea salt. So they're taking seawater, they are evaporating it, and they are harvesting. Hey, it's welcome, good to see you here. They are getting the salt from the evaporated water. So they take seawater, they evaporate it, it leaves the salt behind, they harvest that, and that's what makes sea salt. And so when you see things that say sea salt on them, that is typically going to be something that is harvested right from the sea in today's times, like today, like, so it came from salt water, you know, in modern times right now. It's not something ancient. And typically we say that sea salt is more healthy because it has more vitamins and minerals, and we're going to talk, excuse me, not vitamins, but more minerals, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go through this salt talk. The other kind of salt that you can have is you can have salt that's actually cultivated in a science lab. So they actually, in a lab somewhere in the world, they're making sodium chloride and making regular table salt. Now, fortunately, I think this is quite fortunate actually for us, we do not have access to that salt. You're never going to see it in the grocery store. It's never going to be commercially available, I don't think, because it's really expensive to make. And so well, relatively expensive to make compared to what it is to just get sea salt or to get regular table salt from a mine. So we will not see that, but that is actually the third way that you could have, that you could produce salt. So basically, when we're talking about this, the salt that is available to us is all coming from our planet. Our planet has produced this sodium chloride combination and given us this amazing mineral. Now, out of all the minerals, and you might have heard me say this yesterday, but out of all the minerals that we have, we get plenty of salt. Sodium is one of those things that you don't go, oh, well, you know, I don't think I've got enough salt today. Typically, if you're eating at all, unless you're a very rare case of somebody who absolutely hates salt or has some weird, aversion to it in your system or something like that, we are getting plenty of salt. In fact, 99% of us are getting double the amount of salt that we need in a day. So for our bodies to function. Fortunately, we have these really great things called kidneys that help regulate that and distribute that properly in our body. So yes, so that's just the science part about where salt comes from and the different ways to get salt and what salt is. So let's talk about the different kinds of salt. And the first kind I want to talk about is kosher salt. Now, as a cook, I'm not a chef, by the way. Anybody that calls me a chef, somebody called me a chef the other day, and I am not a chef. I have not been trained. I am a cook. That's what I do. I love to cook. That's what I do. So we have just regular kosher salt right here. You can see this is Morton's kosher salt. And if you're appalled that I have this in my kitchen, it is actually very lovely to cook with. And sometimes this is what I actually prefer to cook with. And this is actually what Robin prefers to put on his food. And the reason is because kosher salt is a nice big flake. So when we're talking about flaking out, you can see, let me see if I can turn my camera here for you to see it. I'll just hold it up here. If you can see there, comparably speaking, if I can get my camera to focus. Okay, see, good to see you here. If you can see there, the salt grains are actually quite large. They're kind of flaky, actually, in a kosher salt. So if you're not familiar with it, that's what it was used for. Now, the reason that there is kosher salt at all, and a lot of people think, and it will actually say it, kosher salt for Passover on the front of this particular box. But really, all salt in most forms is a pure mineral, and so it's kosher just about any way that you get it. But the word kosher and calling it kosher salt isn't because of the salt. It actually comes from the process of koshering meat. So when we talk about kosher salt, it comes from when you need to kosher meat. So in order to kosher meat, and this is for some religions, mostly in the Jewish religion, they eat a lot of koshered meats, and so in order to kosher a meat, the blood must be removed from the meat. And so if you want all the blood out of the meat, sometimes they will soak it in a brine, which includes the kosher salt, and that will extract the blood from the meat and therefore make the meat kosher, and not necessarily referring to the salt as being kosher. And so that's where we get the term kosher salt. And they prefer a larger flake like this because it actually melts slowly in the brine, so it doesn't immediately dissolve. And if you're doing a dry rub on it to remove the blood out of the meat, hey, it's good to see you guys, then you are getting, they like these larger flakes so that you have, that the blood does not just soak in, well, it won't soak into the little bitty tiny ones anyway, but these larger flakes have bigger surfaces on them, so the blood will soak into that, draw it out of the meat. If it's too big, then it will just run right off of it. So it's a science kind of process there, but that's why we have kosher salt. It is just regular salt, and you can get it with iodine or without. Actually, if it was with iodine, it wouldn't be too kosher. So, but you can get it with or without at that point, but it refers to what they use the salt for, not necessarily what the salt is, if that makes sense. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, you guys are really quiet today. I hope you're not quiet because I blocked a few people. If you want to say something, go ahead and say it. Doesn't mean I'm going to block you. I'm just not going to put up with a bunch of silly questions like that. So, sorry about that. So iodized salt. What is iodized salt? Listening. Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you. So iodized salt is the process that they instituted in the 1920s. So in the 1920s, the medical community started noticing that people were having goiter. Okay, good. Good. Just don't want you to think that I was going to block you automatically or anything like that. So thanks for all the hearts, by the way, everybody. I see those hearts. So the people had goiter. So goiter is basically... Okay, good. Thank you. Good. So goiter is basically the inflammation of the thyroid gland. So if the thyroid gland is sluggish, it will actually increase itself in size to try to produce the hormones that you need that are coming out of your thyroid. So, people, they were noticing that people were getting goiter, which is the huge inflammation of the sea salt. You can get iodized all kinds of salts. So it is not necessarily bad. So don't look at it and go, oh my God, there's iodine in it and I can't have it. Iodine is actually really good for the body. It does help regulate that thyroid gland. I keep touching my neck because that's where your thyroid is. Actually sits like right about here. It is to prevent goiter. They put it in, and so it's normally what they put in is potassium iodine. So it works really. The flavor, it doesn't change the color. So potassium iodine is typically what they will add to it. So if you're just using regular iodized salt, let's say you're in a restaurant and they are probably using just regular old Morton's, iodized salt, it's absolutely not going to harm you. So don't freak out when you see that word. You need some iodine in your diet to help regulate that thyroid gland. So typically, those of us who are eating real food diets and not eating a lot of prepackaged foods, which has all that stripped out of it, are getting iodine in lots of fruits and vegetables, and that's typically coming from the dirt that is around the fruit and vegetables, just so you know. So the right amounts of iodine are actually really healthy for you, and actually good for your overall health. In fact, some people, there was a craze about a year ago, maybe a couple years ago, where everybody was thinking that they were iodine deficient, and so they started adding iodine to their water. There was like some article that came out in some big medical journal or something. Yes, seafood, that's seafood, and seafood vegetables are typically where you're getting, sea vegetables are mostly where you're getting that, but also sweet potatoes, a lot of ground or root vegetables have iodine in them. So typically most of us are okay with that. But if it's a problem, then I would consult a professional about it and not go on your own iodine kick, because too much iodine in the body is no good either. And that's a whole different subject. But yes, you're absolutely right. That's where they come from. Thank you for putting that in there. So let's just talk about your regular old run-of-the-mill restaurant, fast food, kitchen table, cooktop table salt. Here's the reason that I would just like you to stay away from that type of salt. And it has nothing to do other than there is a lot of processes that salt has been through to get to your table. They want to make it whiter. They actually, to pull it out of the rock, it has to go through a process. They want to have a very consistent taste and texture for the salt. And so they do a lot of processing to get that consistency out to us as a consumer. And so one of the problems with that is that they have stripped all of the minerals other than the sodium chloride, not all of them, but a lot of them. They're in trace amounts. Excuse me, they're in trace amounts otherwise, but they have stripped a ton of the a lot of, I want to say vitamins today. What's up with that? I must need to talk about vitamins or something, but they have stripped a lot of the minerals out of that in the process. And so what you have left behind is basically just the sodium chloride, and that's it. Is that bad? Not necessarily. People that are concerned about high blood pressure and salt should absolutely stay away from it, because it is actually just the sodium chloride without all the other minerals, and all the other minerals right? all the other minerals. I'm not really well versed on that subject to talk about them. There are other people that are way more well versed than that. I just know a little bit about vitamins. I know a little bit about minerals, but yeah, I mean, that's a huge topic. That would be like a month's worth of talking there on vitamins. So, but yeah, but they've stripped all that out. So if you have the minerals in there, all the other minerals that they've taken out are actually good for your blood pressure, can actually lower your blood pressure. And we'll talk about that when we talk about sea salt. But that would be the only reason I would be like, you know, on a daily basis, maybe if you cannot use the table salt when you are forced to use the table salt, that would be fine. But you know, it's just not something that I would use on a daily basis. If it's what you can afford and you want to use salt, then that's fine. Just understand that it's super processed, but a sea salt like this is going to be more expensive, but you typically don't use as much of it either. So that transitions us right into sea salt. So sea salt is amazing. Sea salt has all kinds of amazing properties to it. It has over 80 plus minerals that your body is probably deficient in. I'm not calling you out there. I'm talking about even my own body. Sea salt has minerals that are hard to get otherwise. And so sea salt has amazing properties that way. It is less processed. So it is not a consistent color typically. Typically a sea salt, I actually think that this is from, no, this is just sea salt. This isn't pink Himalayan. But you can see there that there's a lot of different colors in there. And so that's what you come to expect when you, let's look at it this way. There we go. That's better. But you see that? There's a lot of different colors in that. Those are all the minerals that you're seeing. That's all the different kinds of minerals that you're seeing in the salt. So it definitely has more than that, more in it. The other thing that it has more of or has it in it at all, is going to be selenium. Selenium is crucial in the body to help us detox from the heavy metals that we are bombarded with in today's society. Selenium used to not be talked about a whole lot, but as we talk more and more about the heavy metals, that we are possibly exposed to, if you ever wear sunscreen, if you ever wear sunscreen or put anything on your face or your body or especially your mouth that has a sunscreen in it, you are exposing your bodies to heavy metals. And so to detox your body from heavy metals, you need some sort of selenium. So just keeping that in mind. So most everybody I know uses sunscreen. I'm like the only person I know, well, besides my husband, that doesn't use just a regular over-counter, or it's in our makeup, or it's even in our hair products nowadays, in our lipsticks, in our chapsticks. It's everywhere. Sunscreen is everywhere, and it has heavy metals in it, and your body is being exposed to that. And they are toxic to the body. I'm sorry if I'm busting somebody's bubble. I apologize for that. That's another thing that I need to do is a whole week of scope on like these types of products. And I'm more food-based, but sunscreen has a lot of heavy metals in it. I'll leave those scopes to somebody else. But it has a lot of heavy metals in it. So your body has heavy metals in it. You're taking it in one way or the other. And selenium actually helps detox that out of your body. So it helps move those toxins out through the waste that's coming out of your body, which is going to be your urine or your poop. So selenium is great for that. And so sea salt naturally has a fair amount of selenium in it, and can be helpful for detoxing those heavy metals out of the body. So it can also help with high blood pressure. I don't know if you guys know that, but if you have all of the minerals that are in this, and I mean, we're talking, I have a weird light here today, but we're talking calcium, potassium, sulfur, magnesium, iron, phosphorus, iodine, manganese, copper, zinc. Those are all the different types of minerals plus more that are in salt like this, and they can actually help balance out your blood pressure. So table salt, just sodium chloride, gonna raise your blood pressure. Sea salt is actually gonna help lower your blood pressure. And this is available just about anywhere. If you, it depends on where you live. It's always available on the internet. Whole Foods, Sprouts, most natural grocers in the country are going to have a sea salt like this, and it's getting to a point where real grocery stores, not real, but traditional grocery stores. I'm looking at real and said real, but traditional grocery stores are beginning to carry this. So yeah, it's an amazing product. I highly recommend it. So one level up. So let's level up from sea salt. What could possibly top what I just talked about? So we're going to level up, and leveling up is to the pink Himalayan salt. Now this is a mined salt. Do not get in your mind that there is some sea in the middle of the Himalaya mountains that is, yes, pink Himalaya salt. So that they're getting this salt from. This is a mined salt. So here's the great thing about pink Himalayan salt. When it comes out of the mine, it is in its purest form. It is in big chunks. They actually bring them out in huge, big trucks full of these giant, almost boulder size salt rocks, and they come out and they're crystal. You guys have seen you've seen chunks of it at different places. You can buy it in chunks and put it in your grinder. Yes, it's from Pakistan. That's absolutely right. It's a beautiful, you can actually see through it. They make salt lamps. So if you've ever seen a salt lamp, that's typically a pink Himalayan salt lamp, which radiates the minerals into the air and is supposed to be good for when you're breathing. It's supposed to help with all kinds of conditions and purifications in the body. I don't know about that, but when it's heated up, with the lamp, that's what's supposed to happen. But I don't know. I'm not familiar. I don't have one, so I don't know. So it is a mine salt from Pakistan. Somebody just said that, absolutely. And here's the benefits of this salt. This salt is like 250 million years old. And the benefits from that is that it is before we started polluting our earth. And so with the pollution and the problem with the sea salt we get today and the mine salt that we're getting today, the mine salt that we're getting from Texas and a lot of places in the south and some places in the east have salt mines, but they're not very far below the surface, relatively speaking. And so the polluted water actually gets down in there and can settle into those salt banks, or the salt rocks. And so there's still some pollution, but this is actually really, really old formed sea salt that has formed in the Himalayas, and we're getting probably the purest form of salt. It is pristine. A lot of people that sell it especially will say that it's pristine salt. So it is chock-a-block full of minerals. It has more minerals than any sea salt that you're going to get today because we've stripped some of them out with our pollution. But it is full of minerals. It is absolutely full of minerals. It is super good for you. It has an extraordinary taste, in my opinion. It doesn't taste like regular table salt in any fashion to me. I actually enjoy the taste. It's much more robust. It's much more flavorful. I have a pretty sensitive palate to things like that. I taste it. I can tell you, typically if I eat something, I can tell you what's in it, even if I don't know what's in it. That's just how my palate has developed, and the healthier I get, the more sensitive it actually gets to that. The better food tastes, the less toxins I have in my body, the better food tastes. And so pink Himalayan salt to me is one of my favorites. I have a grinder that I use with it. It's amazing. So pink Himalayan salt is actually said to balance your pH in your body, which most of us need. Most of us are too acidic. And so it actually helps balance the pH in the body. It says that it can help lower your blood pressure because of all the other minerals doing their job as salt should do in its pure form. It can help remove toxins, and that's because of the selenium mineral that you're finding in there. And then it actually has been said that it will help increase libido. Now, this does not mean that if you want a better sex life that you go get a big old chunk of sea salt and suck on it all day, okay? That's not what that means. You're gonna have too much sodium in your body. Still, you can get too much. You can get too much pink Himalayan sea salt. It's still sodium. Your body still reacts to it the way that it's going to react to salt. So you need to be careful with that. But it has been said, I've read several articles that talk about pink Himalayan salt actually increasing libido. Probably what's happening there, in my opinion, is that it's increasing circulation. And so when it increases circulation, your brain functions better and other body parts function better, especially for the males of us here. And it opens your mind more to the ideas of sex, because when you're stressed and when your body is stressed and when you're under duress, when your health is under duress, your body does not think about sex as often as it should. And so, or it can actually, let's put it that way. And so when it is healthier and when you feel better and when you feel better about yourself and your body loves you and you love your body, typically you are more aware and that libido actually will raise. So it's not some magic pill, it's not some magic drug, and anything other than a stimulant like a Viagra that says that it raises your libido naturally, that's what it's doing. It's actually changing the chemistry in the body to make it function better, so you feel better about yourself, so you think more about sex, just so you know. So there are some herbs that actually will stimulate an immediate reaction, but when we're talking about it overall, that's basically what's happening. It's increasing blood circulation to parts of the body like your brain and other parts that will stimulate the thoughts of sexual activity. So how we get on salt and then we went to sexual, I don't know how that happened. I have no idea how that just happened, but anyway, so there's the different kinds of salts. Those are the ones that we're going to talk about. I have to tell you that I was introduced to a couple of salts my past trip. I just got back from Hawaii about a week ago, and I was introduced to some salts. This is called the salty wahine, which means salty lady or salty woman in Hawaiian. And this is a black lava salt. This is available in different places. This is really super cool because this uses an activated charcoal. So basically what they've done, the salt is not this color when it comes out of the ocean, by the way. It looks like this. This is its purest form right here. It's just white salt, just like this. And they have taken it and mixed it with an activated charcoal, probably in the evaporative process. They started adding some charcoal and it turned the salt black like this. But that activated charcoal in this is actually really good for your body. It can help if you're dealing with any digestive issues. If you excuse me, if you have been poisoned somehow, let's say that, I don't know, you're using Roundup in your yard or something and you get a slight poisoning or anything like that. So in other words, it's very detoxing. So you've heard of people using charcoal to pump people's stomachs out. And that is because it actually, the poisonous agent will actually stick to the charcoal molecule and then leave the body, either through, if you're pumping your stomach, it's coming out the wrong way, in my opinion. But if you're just eating it like this, it's actually going to move that poison out the right way. So yes, so it can actually help lower cholesterol. It can prevent a hangover. A lot of people use a lot of those hangover pills that you see like in Whole Foods and stuff like that. They're just using an activated charcoal because guess what? It's moving the poison out of your body, and alcohol is exactly that to your system. So your body does not like alcohol. I don't care what anybody tells you. It does not like alcohol. There is no part of your body that likes alcohol. Your brain likes it temporarily for the euphoric effect, but it does not like it overall. So I was exposed to this. That is also true in this salt here. This is baked with, I don't know how you pronounce that actually. I think it's Alea. And this is going to have the same effect. And I have a little brochure. Let me see what he says about this, because it actually, maybe it says right here on the package. Highly revered all over the world. This one has the antioxidants. So antioxidants that comes from the red volcanic clay that is on Kauai. And so there is tons of antioxidants in that clay. A lot of clay have that. I just saw somebody pop up and say, not even red wine. Not even red wine. Nope. Once a fermented food gets to an alcoholic state or to an alcohol state, your body resists it with everything that it has. And the only thing that it's benefiting is it's benefiting your brain. There are some antioxidants and properties in red wine, but you can also eat red grapes and get those same antioxidant properties in it. So when they talk about red wine being good for you, it's because you're eating a trashy diet. I'm not saying you. I'm not pointing at you saying this. I'm just using an overall umbrella. But your body is actually, if you're eating a poor diet and so you're not getting those things in there, then red wine might be beneficial for you. But really the benefits towards the alcohol is way overweighs it. Now, I am not saying don't ever have an alcoholic drink ever, 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 ever. I have an alcoholic drink now and again, once in a blue moon. Here's a great example. Here's a perfect example. Robin and I will go dancing this weekend and we'll both have, well, typically I have a wine or something like that. And because we like to listen to music and we like to go dancing. It's a release for us. It is a very romantic thing for us. It's how we connect. We have a great time doing it. And I like to have an adult beverage when we do that. But do I go overboard? Absolutely not. Never. I just don't do it. I used to frequent myself. Well, not frequent. I used to allow myself to get intoxicated because I thought it was funny and I enjoyed it. But I don't do that anymore. After I've had cancer, I realized the first time I'd not had it in a really long time and I had alcohol again, and I realized that my body was in revolt after I did that. So I stay away from it. That is my personal conviction. I would like to help people. I would love, love, love to help people get off of their daily habit. That would be, it's one of my platforms that I stand on, and I stand tall. And it's not a religious thing. It is not a conviction. I'm not trying to shut down the beer industry or the wine industry or anything like that. It is just coming from a point that, you know how crappy you feel after you've had too much alcohol? That's exactly, your body is telling you. Your body's saying, look it, I do not like this. This is not good. And so in excess, absolutely never. In moderation, maybe, but not on a daily basis. So your gut is not happy when it has alcohol in it. So, all right. So that's my alcohol story. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, good. I think I lose some viewers when I say stuff like that. I think people are they do have alcohol on a regular basis or on a daily basis, and I think they're like, oh my God, this woman's like crazy hippie, crazy girl, you know, and that's fine, but I really would like to, and I'd like to give you alternatives. If it's something that you do on a daily basis, I'd like to give you alternatives to help you break that habit where it's just an occasional thing and an enjoyable thing on occasion as opposed to a routine. So I'd just like to help you change your routine, probably about several things, not just alcohol. So yes, rarely drink alcohol. Me too. Very, very rarely. So I was brought up in a family that nobody, mom, dad, nobody, there was never any alcohol in the house, ever, 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 ever. And it was a religious conviction for my mom and dad. And my mom still holds very true to that today. And Mom, if you're watching, I apologize. But it was a very strong religious conviction. And so my mom still, I respect her so much for her strong convictions over that. And I'm so grateful that I did not grow up in a house that was not exposed to it on a daily basis. So yeah. So it was an easy thing for me because I didn't do it in the first place. So it was never a hard thing for me. So it's always easy for me to say, well, yeah, cut the alcohol. You know, your gut's going to be much happier. So you'll spend less time working on your gut if you cut the alcohol. Very important to put this message out about moderation. Yes, it's true. Moderation or avoid, I agree with that. I agree more with moderation, actually, than I do with avoid. I think when you start saying you can't do something is the very time that you want to do it. And so it's just like telling a kid, you know, don't go in the street, don't go in the street, don't go in the street. And the only thing they want to do is go in the freaking street. And so I try to find that balance of moderation and teaching people to respect their body. So when you hear me talking a lot about respecting your body and loving your body, by the way, if you're watching the replay and you just were here to hear about salt, that part of the discussion is over. So you can stop the replay. We're not going to talk about salt anymore probably. So and thank you for watching. But I just want to continue this discussion with you guys on this because I think it's important. But yeah, so you hear me talking a lot about loving your body and loving everything about you. And if you love your body, it will love you back. I started forming this relationship with my body just about 2.10 years ago. Actually, no, that's not true. Probably about 2.8 years ago. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So I had this, when I got cancer, I spun out for like 2 months. So it didn't start then, but at the end of that 2 months, when I started going through my treatment and having the surgery and everything, I actually began to love my body. I began to realize how much I love my breast. I began to realize how much I adored my hair because they were talking about taking them away from me. Now I'm the kind of girl that has always complained about, oh my gosh, I have to go dry my hair. By the way, if you're here for salt, you have to watch the replay because we're done talking about salt and we're on another totally different topic right now, which is loving yourself. So, but I would complain about having to do my hair every single day. Oh my God, I have to do my hair. Blah, blah, blah. I can't believe I have to do my hair today. Nah, 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 nah. And when they started talking to me about chemo and the thought of losing my hair. Now that's not why I didn't do chemo. I was actually kind of interested to see what, see, this is crazy right here. I was actually interested to see what I was going to look like bald. And so you knew what I was going to say, right? No, it's crazy. But it was a little bit, so I did not do chemo because of that. But when they started talking about chemo and me losing my hair, I realized how much I adored it. Gray, you can see all the gray. You see my gray? I have tons of gray. Everybody's like, I don't see the gray. I have tons of gray. Even with all my gray, even though it's not perfectly perfect, I began to think I love my hair. And so as I began that relationship with myself, it changed my life because then as soon as I thought about putting something trashy in my body or something that was not good for me in my body, I had such a strong relationship with myself. It would be like doing something bad to your kids or your husband or your dog. I mean, that's the kind of relationship I had. I actually started loving myself more than I loved other people or other things. And it's so healthy. It's such a healthy principle. And so because out of that, I can share my love back to my husband and I can share my love back to my dog and I can share my love back to my family. And they see the light. They see the light that has turned on for me. And it's so much more powerful than if I loved them and took more time for them and took more time doing the things for them instead of taking care of myself. It's actually, when I'm healthy, I can produce that back out to them and they get more of me than they ever got because I am healthier and I love myself more than I love anything else. And people think that that's selfish and it's not. It is selfish to not care about yourself. It is selfish to not give a toot about yourself. That is way more selfish than loving and caring about yourself. So there you go. Ta-da, ta-da, I'm going to take a bow. So I was talking with Dr. Christine yesterday, the digestion doc. We had lunch yesterday, and we were talking about self-value and self-worth. Thank you, Mary. And self-value and self-worth and how important it was and how difficult it has become when you're in a public platform like this. I get a lot of people emailing me and messaging me. By the way, you're welcome to do that anytime you want on Twitter. Send me an email. Oh, good. We're glad to have you here, Snow. But tell me what your name is so I can try to remember what your name is. Although if you talk to anybody here, I'm really bad at that. So, Dr. Dr. Christine is awesome at it, and I am really bad at it. So please forgive me. It's not personal. It's just my brain. So Pam. So snow equals Pam. Pam equals snow. I will try to remember. Nice to meet you, Pam. Thanks for being here. So yes, so we're talking about how when you're in a public space like this and everybody's exposed to you, like all these new people are exposed to you, you start getting all of these compliments and everybody, you know, complimenting you on a regular basis. And it's kind of hard to adjust to. I mean, I'm having a hard time adjusting to it. And so when somebody used to compliment me, immediately my eyes would look down. I would look down, I'd be like, oh, thanks, you know, or whatever. Or I'd have a comeback of, oh, well, that's just because blah, blah, blah. You know, that's because, because I have a big mouth, or because I can't possibly not talk, or something like that. And so it was so crazy. And so now it's so important for me when somebody compliments me that I look you in the eyes and I tell you thank you. And that because you have taken time, you have reached out, you have put your guard down and said to me that you appreciate something about me, or that you like something about me, or that you look up to something that I have done. And if I am not giving you the proper acknowledgement, then you might as well have not said anything. And so just keeping that in mind, that's part of that self-love and loving who you are and loving who you've become and loving what you do. That is so important, such an important part of that. And so now when somebody says it and I catch myself looking down, I immediately bring my eyes back up, make eye contact, and say, thank you so much. That's so cool that you said that, instead of just kind of shying away from it. So it's when you love yourself, that becomes a little bit easier, but it is a skill that I'm trying to teach myself. So it's right. Taking up an offering soon. No, I'm kidding. So by the way, if you're new to me, my name is Leslie. I do this show. I'm not leaving. So nobody leave. I just want to refresh the people that are just coming in. My name is Leslie. I do this show every weekday at noon Mountain Time. So 11 Pacific. Yes, it's very hard. It is a hard skill. 11 Pacific and 2 p.m. Eastern every weekday. I do the show. We pick a subject. We break it down. This week we've been talking about salt. And if you want to see the salt part of this, then you'll have to go watch the replay, because we're kind of done talking about salt and we're on to other things. But yes, so, and my website is gotokitchens.com. It's right here in the title of the scope. And I will tell you that there is nothing for sale over there. If you go to my website, I am not selling you anything. The only thing that I want you to buy is I want you to buy into your health. And so that's the only thing. Do you guys like my new tagline? Dr. Christine said I needed one. I needed to say something over and over again, like she does with the crappiest. So if you're watching, Christine, the crappiest. And so, I took a page out of her book and decided that I needed to have something to say. So that's my thing. Don't have anything for sale. You can't buy a thing. The only thing I want you to buy is I want you to buy into your health. So there you go. So gotokitchens.com. It's right in the title of the scope when you watch the replay. So please come visit me, become a VIP, and we will further this conversation, because there you can find out when I'm doing blabs. No, right? Except I'm going to point. I'm not going to crappiest it. I'm going to point. I want you. But yeah, so you can find out when I'm doing blabs. You can find out when I have interviews. I do all kinds of radio interviews. I do all kinds of, this is a live event, but in an in-person, thank you so much. An in-person event. I do in-person events as well. I've done 3 this week. And so I do in-person events as well. And I speak to groups of women and men about health, and it's fun. And we have, last night I taught a sauerkraut class. You guys, we had so much fun. I had people, I brought in the middle of the class, I decided that it was a good idea that people come up to the counter where I was teaching the class. I was teaching with a friend. Her name is Nanette Ogsiger. And if you haven't checked her out, you need to check her out. She's amazing. Here's her book. Let me show you her book so you can see the spelling of her name. That's the spelling of her name. She has a website. She has this little book. It's $14 worth of gold. It's gold. I do not make a penny when I sell her book, although she's a dear friend. She needs to give me some money. No, I'm kidding. But this is an amazing little book. So we taught a recipe out of this book. If you watch my sauerkraut episode, this is where I learned to make sauerkraut. and from her, of course. But so so I thought it was a great idea to get people to come up and do the pounding part of it. And so I had 2 women up there and they were beating the crap out of that cabbage. If you're not familiar with making sauerkraut, you have to pound the cabbage. I am on Catch. Yeah, I'm guessing that you mean catch and not latch. There you go. Yes, catch.me, same thing, go2kitchens.com, and Twitter and every social media on the planet. You can find me at go2kitchens.com. So, and come talk to me. I love it when people do that. So I have them up there pounding, and I mean, it's almost liquefied. By the time we get through to our talk, the cabbage is just like, oh my God, stop pounding me. It's all limp. It was hilarious. And so we made 2 jars of cabbage last night, and I got somebody else to do the work for me. I was like, this is how you make sauerkraut, is you get somebody else to pound it for you. So taught a class last night. We had an amazing time. I spoke live at a cancer event on this past Saturday, and I know that I helped some women transform their ideas about cancer and their fear of cancer. So it's very, very powerful. And if anybody knows anybody that is looking for that kind of person, I love to help with that. So you need to make some sauerkraut. Okay, so I'm going to commit to you guys right now that, let me look at a calendar. Hold on. Let me pull up my calendar on my computer. I'm going to tell you when Fermenting Week is coming back up, because I'm going to make a commitment to you guys. So next week, we are talking about the 5 metabolic killers. So what's killing your metabolism? If you're having a hard time losing weight, if you're having a hard time getting, that belly fat off and all that sort of thing, I'm going to talk to you next week about the 5 things that are killing your metabolism. So that's coming up next week. The week after that, just like salt, we're going to demystify sugar. We're going to talk about sugar. I'm actually talking with several companies that I'm introducing you guys to, so I can't wait to do that. And then I'm also going to be live at Natural Grocers in their sugar aisle or in their sweetener aisles to show you some things there. So that's sugar. So the week of the 9th, so November 9th, it's perfect actually. November 9th, we are going to do Fermenting Week. We're going to repeat Fermenting Week. We're going to talk about kombucha. I'm going to introduce you guys to kvass, which you're going to flip over. If you like kombucha, kvass is going to make you scream. It's so good. We'll do sauerkraut again. I'll make some sauerkraut. I'll teach you how to do that. And we'll talk about all the other fermented foods and then how to eat them, because you made kvass. Oh, it's so good. I love kvass. It's so, so good. So I'll teach you how to do that as well. So you already know how, but but we'll talk about kombucha, and I'm working on getting somebody to teach me how to make kombucha. And I think when I have my teach in that week, then I'm actually going to do it. So as I'm learning, you guys can learn as well, and we'll get an expert to teach us how to do that. So so that's going to be super, super exciting. Maybe even Annette will join me. So yeah, good. Thank you so much for being here. I think you're new to me, and I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that's here. So that's what's coming up. Go check out go2kitchens.com. You can see the rundown of what's happening. So I wish you were closer too. Oh my gosh. I wish like everybody lived like within 5 miles of me so we could hang out. Spending time with Lenny Motivates yesterday, Lenny from Lenny Motivates, and the digestion doc, Christine Kazmar, spending time with them yesterday just really was like, oh my God, I can't wait till January, till the Periscope Summit, and everybody shows up in one place. So if you guys don't know, there's another Periscope Summit coming up in San Francisco in January, and it is not just for people who are scoping, it's for everybody. Anybody can buy a ticket to it, and it would, if you're there, please, 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 by all means, find me and come hug my neck. So yes, that's right. Yep. It's a small world and the planet is too big. That's okay. One day we'll find our way to one another. So I bet you by golly. All right. So it's 5 minutes to 1. This has been your 1 hour scope. It seems to always be 1 hour. Tomorrow I'm actually in the kitchen. We're going to continue our salt talk. Tomorrow I'm actually in the kitchen, and I usually cook on Fridays, but I have another event on Friday. I will be scoping on Friday, but Friday's topic is actually salt tips and tricks beyond the food. So not talking about ingesting salt, but talking about where you can use salt in other parts of your life that make it really good for your body as well. I'll be talking more about that on Friday, and I'll be on location, so no telling where that's going to come from. I'm actually going to a big convention, a health and wellness convention on Friday that I'm attending, and hooking up with other wellness professionals. So that's coming up tomorrow. I'm actually going to do, I'm going to cook with salt. So where can you find my cancer story? So go to kitchens.com. It's there, and you can click on Meet the Hands. So I call myself the hands because if you watch my regular YouTube videos, the only thing you can see is my hands. You can't see my face or anything. You just see my hands. So I call myself the hands. But yes, you can read about my cancer story there. And I will tell you, if you want to know more, thank you so much for putting that up there. It's exactly right. Go to kitchens.com. If you want to know more and even hear me talk about it live on this coming Tuesday, if you go to my Facebook page, there's an event page there. And this Tuesday, I'm doing a blab with Evan from Summers Wellness, blab.im. If you're not familiar, it's an interview platform. So you can interview or be interviewed or just have a conversation. And we're going to be opening it up to live questions. So you guys can actually pop on to the blab with me, and I can see you and you can see me, and we can actually have a conversation instead of this typing crazy thing. But yes, I'm doing that on Tuesday, and I would love if you guys, the information is on my Facebook page at gotokitchens.com. I would love if you could join me and be there present on the blab, because I did not set it up. It's coming from Evan at Summers Wellness. And I'm on there with Aniela. I can't remember Aniela's last name, but Aniela is a breast cancer survivor that has been through the full Monty of breast cancer treatments, mastectomy, radiation, chemo. She did it all. She did everything. And so she's going to be talking about it from that perspective. And I'm going to be talking about it from the wellness perspective and what I did, which was no chemo, and no tamoxifen, which they wanted me to do, but I chose not to do it. But I did have the surgery and the radiation. So I'm going to be talking about it from my experience and her experience. And I would love if you guys were there to ask all your intelligent questions, and then maybe even pop in on the blab and ask your question right to my face so I could look in the eyes. I would love that. So I'd love to meet every single one of you. Every single one of you. I have a goal that every single one of you that are here regularly, that someday I'm going to get to meet you face to face and hug your neck and tell you how much I appreciate you. So time to set up Blab. That's right. You just need a Twitter account. It's super easy. Blab is awesome. Just beware. It's addictive, just like Periscope. So seen some amazing interviews, and I've been in some amazing interviews. It's really, really cool. If you guys, the Daily Q show, her name is Jennifer Quinn. She's amazing, and she does a show. She does an interview every day, and it's on all kinds of subjects. You pick a topic. It's on business. It's on health. It's on pop culture. It's on how to live your life. It's on mental wellness. It's on all kinds of things. And she does it every single day. And her name is Jennifer Quinn. And I highly recommend that you check out her blabs. She is gaining popularity quick, and she's getting big, big names in her interviews. And it's pretty darn impressive. So you guys be in on the first of that. So yeah, Jennifer Quinn. The Daily Q Show is the name of the show. So if you put in Quinn and Blab in search, you'll find her. So yes. And then also, I think what's coming down the pipe for me in Blab is that, and if you're in a VIP, you'll get more information about this very soon. But I think in Blab, I'm going to start doing a weekly show, and it's going to be a recipe show. So I'm going to have somebody on with me talking about one recipe, and we're going to talk about a recipe every single week, and they're all going to be healthy recipes. So you're going to want your pen and paper and be there. We're not going to be cooking it necessarily, but maybe sometimes. I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to be talking about different recipes that you guys can get and talk about seasonal food. So here's what's in season, and here's a really great recipe for that, because I like for you to eat organic and seasoned foods. Those are the best for you. So, okay. So there you go. That's my story, sticking to it. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Know that I only ever want you to be well, and I want you to be healthy, and I want you to take control and love yourself. So those are my goals for you. Those are my prayers for you, actually. So you guys have an amazing day. Please check it out. GoToKitchens.com. Become a VIP. I have a newsletter dropping this week, and it's going to have an exclusive interview in it with these people who make the Wahini salt. So it's going to have a quick interview in there about them and where you can find this amazing salt, because it's amazing. And so you guys check out, sign up to become a VIP and get that exclusive little video that is coming right down to you in that newsletter this Sunday. My newsletter comes out every other Sunday. It is not spam. It is short and sweet, and it's from me. So I write all my own content. I write all my own stuff. So anything that you're getting from Go To Kitchens is coming from me. The only thing that I don't do is I have somebody who posts in my recipe roundup page, and I have somebody who posts recipes to my Facebook page because she's really good at it. And as Go To Kitchens grows, I would love for her to be my recipe developer, and so she posts recipes every single week and takes photos and does all that sort of stuff. So her name is Emily, so you might see her name every once in a while. So she does my recipes, but everything else that comes from Go To Kitchens is coming from me. So if you love it, you can tell me. If you hate it, you can blame me. So there you go. Okay, that's it. And I love you. And you guys have an amazing day. And I will see you here tomorrow at noon Mountain Time for Lunch with Leslie. We are actually cooking in the kitchen tomorrow. So, all right. See you later. Bye.